Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina, the people expert. You know, I help people with people, even if that person is themselves. And I am here to talk about fathers. Yes, and I got two fathers with me, and we're going to dive deep into this thing called blended families.
I am father.
Back against the wall, head still high, push through it all. Father am I, lead by example, but still I gotta follow. Value your seeds, let's promise them tomorrow. Forever I stand, it's never to be a bother. Forever I'm man, forever I'm father. Forever I stand, it's never to be a bother. Forever I'm man, forever I'm father.
My name is Allen and Ervin, and this is I Am Father. My name is Allen Ervin. You're watching another episode of I Am Father, a special edition you're about to see.
Did you know that every day 1,300 blended families are created daily? Yes, I said 1,300 new blended families are created daily, which means that right now in America, 1/3 of all Americans are a part of a blended family, whether they're a step parent, whether they are a child of a blended family. So we need to really have these discussions so that we can learn from the experiences that other people have, because I don't necessarily have to walk down the street and know that it's a hole there to fall in. I could listen to someone else and learn the distractions and ways to get through them. And so that's what we're here to do. So, you know, you've already met Alan. Hey, Alan. And we have Quincy. Hey, Quincy. But the rest of the day, I'm going to call him Q. Okay, I'm just saying. So I want to begin by asking, what got y'all here? Why am I talking to you two specifically?
First. Okay.
You go first.
Well, when I got married initially, my ex-wife had a 6-year-old son.
Okay.
And that was his son.
Your birth son.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I was a stepdad. He was biological dad.
Okay.
And it was a rocky road at first. We want to talk about
how rocky was it?
Oh yeah, it was rocky.
What?
It was bad.
Give me an example.
Just know it's bad, Doc. Almost fisticuffs.
Okay.
A couple times. Just total disagreements.
And so give me an example of what some of the disagreements may be. And let me say this to our listening audience. It is so important to learn from other people's experiences. That's why I'm digging deep. That's why I want to get to what were the actual issues and how it made you feel and what you did and why you felt that way. Because I know for me, because I got a baby daddy.
I can tell you what really sparked it, really. I remember when Veronda was bringing Quincy back and forth. You was in Atlanta, we was in Alabama, and we initially got on the phone because I said, okay, well, let me give him a call. You remember this conversation?
I do indeed.
You said, let me give him a call. I said, let me give him a call, and I called you, and you was like, I'm glad you called me, because the day that you lay a hand on my son or whoop him any kind of way, I'm gonna fuck you up. You remember that?
I do remember.
I said, well, I tell you this, Quincy. If Quincy is disobedient in school,
oh yeah,
if he's disrespectful in my house, I'm gonna whoop his ass, and we hit the roof from there. About 10, 15 years.
Okay, so wait a minute. So I get your perspective as a man who has a new family, and as having a new family, the man is the head of the family, and so they set the structure and foundation for the home. And so if in my home you're disrespectful, there has to be consequences. Don't you know that?
I do understand.
But you didn't want nobody putting their hands on your child.
We can dig it deeper,
okay.
A little bit deeper. I think this was at the time I was living in Mobile, Alabama.
Okay, I thought you was in Atlanta.
No, I was in Mobile. I was managing health clubs in Mobile.
Okay.
And Allen and Veronda, at my perception, they was in the church really well, which is a good thing. Veronda just gotten married. I was getting married with Allen, and she said, "Well, the man is the household. He spares the rod. That's his household, but I'm still here. I'm a living being. I'm a father. I'm here. So if there is something going on with Quincy, well, let's be a group effort. Let's call me first. Let's not just, with my child." And it was almost agreed upon, if the pastor or anyone within the church can spare the rod on my child, after school programs, that was okay. And she was okay with that. Mm-hmm. I was not okay with that because I am here. So I think things got a little chaotic at that point.
Okay, so because I want to get clarity. Okay. Believe in clarity. So you were in Mobile,
yes,
Alabama,
I was in Mobile,
and where were you all living?
Birmingham.
So still Alabama. Mm-hmm. How far apart?
3 hours.
Okay, so let me say this. I'm just going to keep it real. If the child gets out of order, you're not going to drop what you're doing and drive 3 hours to check them. You may talk to them on the telephone, things of that nature, but in that moment, the person who has the responsibility in that moment, they have the responsibility in that moment, because if we look at the media and we see all the stuff that's going on in the media, sometimes parents don't do anything in the moment and things continue to get out of hand. So, but I really appreciate you saying, I'm here. Because I think a lot of times, women, I'm saying this to you, a lot of times we discredit that there is a father and that the father does have a say, and because they're not in the home, they don't get a say. So I understand your frustration. I really do. And then, how did you feel when he felt like, you better not put your hands on my baby?
I vaguely remember. Are you talking about when you was in Mobile before we got married, or when we was about to get married?
You was about to get married.
Was about to get, okay.
And, yeah.
So then I really didn't have. I didn't want to have a whole lot of input into that because Veronda and I, we didn't date long. We ain't date long, so I was getting to know her.
What's not long?
I think we dated for. I proposed to her in like a November. And we got married in March.
How long were you dating?
That summer, the summer before the end.
So say like June.
Yeah, like June.
And then you proposed in November.
Yep, around Thanksgiving.
And then you got married
in March.
Yeah. So it wasn't even a whole year.
No, not really. But see, we was in church together.
Okay, so let me help. Okay, so help me.
No, this is where the pot thickens.
Let's help me.
We're making beef stew now.
Right, so I just want to know how, because we're in church together, that makes it
Well,
different.
Listen. Back then, it was like I gave my life over. I was hungry for the Lord. And a lot of those things, which is traditional things, I really bought into. And I don't have a problem with it, because that was really a learning ground for me. So marriage, at that point.
So it's better to marry than to burn.
Not only that, the way you're, taught to be equally yoked, right? So that was another reason I believe God told me to marry Miranda.
Okay.
And that was the thing for me.
Okay. Once you knew that God told you that was your wife.
I believed it.
I
believed it.
So good. Okay, so let me say this. It's good when we hear from the Lord and the Lord says, this is the person. But it don't necessarily mean that it's the person right now. Because sometimes we don't take the time to really get to know the person, the situation, to talk about it. Did y'all do premarital counseling?
Yeah, we did premarital counseling, but we gave it a good run. I have no regrets.
Okay.
Right? I have no regrets. We was married 15 years. We made a good run. I got no regrets.
Beautiful kids.
Yeah. Got my voice out of it,
Okay. That's good. So now how did we get, so that was one situation with the, don't you hit my child. Were there any other issues that came up for you during this time that you was like,
yeah. This is before marriage.
Okay.
We was once at Quincy's football game in Birmingham. I used to drive almost every other weekend from Mobile 3 hours to watch a 30-minute hour game.
All right,
as a child.
Daddy.
So, but then at that point, I would drive, and then at the end of the game, it's agreed that I take Quincy from Birmingham to Anniston, where my mom lived.
Okay.
And I keep him to Sunday, bring him back to Birmingham, drop him back off of Veranda, and I go to Mobile back to work. Well, it stopped. Once she started to date Allen, now she said, well, I need to talk to Allen first. And no, hell you don't. What kind of shit is this? I'm like, you need to talk to whom? About what? And so I think some stuff broke. Yeah.
But see, I vaguely remember that, and I wouldn't even have a problem with that.
The reason you vaguely remember is because it did not affect you.
Right.
It affected me. My program was already set up with my child.
Yeah, you're already doing
everything. I'm doing my thing.
I get that.
And this is where the disconnect came.
So let me ask this question, because you were never married to her, or were you?
No.
Okay, so you were never married. So did you all have a legal agreement about the child?
What's legal?
Like,
Do we have some?
No, they had a relationship, and I get that.
Right.
I didn't know about the Mobile thing, though. So I can see how you were, accustomed to doing things a certain way.
Yeah.
And then even after we got married, what I remember is her meeting you in Anniston because you was in Atlanta. That was after marriage, though. That's what I don't remember the situation before, but I'm saying y'all was accustomed to doing shit a certain way.
Everything was from Mobile. Everything was from Mobile, and I was driving to Mobile 3.5 hours every morning, every Saturday morning, no matter what, to come
From Birmingham?
No, to Birmingham. From Mobile to Birmingham, I was driving.
Oh, really?
To come see Quincy.
But can I just interject something? And this is so important for the women watching. Sometimes women don't fully communicate. So she probably was like, well, I ain't with him no more. So I'm just going, whatever Allen want, I'm going to do what Allen want. But she ain't even communicated clearly to Allen that this was an agreed upon mode of operation that we have to continue. And so women can do that. Women can create chaos. And they can create chaos because they do not communicate clearly.
But I can even see how, we wasn't really communicating right.
We was not. Mm-hmm. Because, again, like you said, you and Veranda, you guys got together really, really fast. Yeah. Things happened. And you guys were in the church. Right. So Veranda was going to church. I don't know if this TMI. Veranda was going to church when she and I were together. Mm-hmm. She started your church. Mm-hmm. And we kind of grew apart.
Do you think it was from her starting to go to church that the growing apart happened?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Well, because her ideology changed. So what she thought, what she was believing, I wasn't believing.
Okay.
So we kind of just grew apart. Story it's even deeper, but she was like, well, we're not married. So abstain. So long before you, Verona and I was not intimate. Mm-hmm. And we had a 4-year-old child in the bedroom. So we just kind of grew apart. Mm. And then she met Allen in the church, and I was like, oh, shit. What the hell? You got, your boyfriend at the church that you was going to that I didn't even believe in? Oh, there's some shit in the game.
Yeah.
That was slick on that one.
Yeah, all that was new to me. Yeah, all this shit new to me.
But that's so good because when we talk about blending families, the thing that's all so important, all of that plays a role because I hear you talk about taking your child to where your mother was, and so now you have the grandparents and what their involvement is, and because sometimes, the breakup happens and then the parents feel left out or they don't communicate the same way. And at the end of the day, the people that's the most important are the children.
Absolutely.
And too often, we allow our adult emotions negatively impact our children. One of the things that I know as a clinical therapist, I hear certain things that men say about when they break up with a woman that has children by them. One of the major things you hear men say is, I don't want no other man raising my child. Well, but when you leave and break up, that opens the door for her to have somebody else. And if she's going to have someone else, people have to begin to learn, how do you then successfully blend families? No one teaches us this.
Right.
We really don't get taught this. And most people are operating out of emotion. And so it's important to know that there's only two emotions, love and fear. All positive emotions lead back to love. All negative emotions lead back to fear. So the anger, the irritation, the frustration at its core is fear-based. Because you didn't want somebody to have a closer relationship with your child than you have.
Not necessarily true.
Okay. So what were some of the things that you were feeling, especially about making sure that you were honored in the space?
No. Because Quincy was not my first.
Okay.
Quincy has an older sister. So I am used to having a step parent in play.
Okay.
For me, at that particular moment, yes, I'm a hothead. I'm a huge hothead.
Okay.
Communication is good. And a lot of women miss that ball. They don't communicate this well based on fear of losing either a new opportunity with a good, healthy relationship based on maybe the relationship she just left that was not so, wasn't good for her. So I think Veranda kind of missed the ball at that. And no, she didn't.
No, she could have communicated better.
Yeah,
she said that.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe all around communication could have been better.
Well, I
think she could have controlled it a lot more.
Yeah.
And she admits to that.
So let me ask this question, because now I do have a baby, by my ex-husband, and I did remarry, and when I remarried, I remember when he asked me to marry him, the first thing I did was ask him to come and sit at the table and let's have a discussion. I says, because you're going to be helping to raise another man's son. So I have some questions that I need to ask to make sure that we're clear and on the same page. And then how are we going to loop him in to being on the same page? I controlled that because I was the mother. I knew wherever I went, my son was going. But I wanted to make sure that, one, my new husband understood that I needed him to respect my ex-husband. I had to do that.
Alan, I know where it went wrong.
Uh-oh.
Where? I know where it went wrong too.
Exactly
let's see let's see if we got the right seconds. When did you think it went wrong?
You guys married at this time.
Yeah, that's when we was married.
Christmas.
The motorcycle?
Yes.
Well, that was down the road. That was down the road. And I probably owe you an apology on that motorcycle. Yeah, I probably owe you an apology on that motorcycle.
What had happened? Tell me. I want to know. Tell me.
I tell you.
Go ahead.
I was in Atlanta at this time.
Okay.
I was in Atlanta at this time, and I bought Quincy a little motorcycle. So
How old was Quincy?
You're asking too many questions.
Okay,
he had to be seven, 8.
No, he might have been a little bit older, just a little bit older. I don't really remember. Mm-hmm. It was 2002.
That's 7.
Yeah, it's 2002.
Okay, 7.
Yeah.
Give you some context.
Yeah.
It was 7.
Bought him a little motorcycle.
Okay.
Motorcycle rider. Okay. So I drove it from Atlanta to Birmingham, took it to Veranda's mom's house. His gifts, other stuff, whatever. And Allen pulled up, I think we was having Christmas, whatever. And Allen, he went. This is my thing too. Mm-hmm. He went to grab the motorcycle. I'm like, oh hell no, that motorcycle ain't going no damn where. It's gonna stay right here at the grandparents' house.
Yeah, that was one of them. Yeah.
So I was being petty. I was petty, super petty. But you couldn't tell me that thing because I was probably a couple of ice house deep.
Okay.
And the grandmother, Veranda's mom, at that point, she was so on your side.
And Leroy was on your side.
Leroy was on my side.
Who's Leroy?
Leroy's the grandfather.
Okay, so Leroy was on his side and the grandmama was on your side. Mm-hmm. And the baby's still in the middle.
Here in the middle. And
he can't ride his motorcycle on a daily basis because we got to keep it at the grandparents' house.
And that was my thing.
And why did you?
He stayed with us.
Right.
So the motorcycle should come to the house.
we was having issues before, and I was being petty.
Yeah, okay.
I was being real petty. Like
that was funny though.
Okay,
that
so
was
let me
funny
ask this
because the
question.
motorcycle I don't think ever got rolled.
Because
It never got. It was still. Who did?
My grandfather tore it up. Wasted my money.
That was funny though.
Hold on. When do you think it went wrong? Because were you thinking about this same situation?
So when you were in Atlanta, where it went wrong with me was when Rhonda was bringing cute little Quincy to meet you in Anniston, right? And then it got to the point she had to bring him all the way.
No, she was meeting me. She was coming. No, I was in Atlanta.
I know.
But
she was coming. She was bringing cute all the way to Atlanta.
She was bringing him to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then that's when we got to let's meet halfway. Because she was, we started to meet halfway. See,
the way that I looked at it, because she started asking me to ride with her. I was like, hold on, I'm running a business here. Why I got to just shut down my business and take Quincy to Atlanta? I'm like, if he want to see him, come to Atlanta. I mean, come to Birmingham.
Did you say it like that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I said if you wanted to see if he wanted to see Quincy, then he at some time he got to come all the way and all the way back. How did you hear it?
Well, I think we're co-parenting at this time. So if it's not an inconvenience for one parent to go one distance or the other. So why does the mother have she has the advantage to say, if you want him, which we already have an agreement, this is your weekend.
Y'all had an agreement, but it was impromptu for me.
But
hold on. Let me say this. This is good because this is for women. This is for the women. Sometimes we loop our current men into something that really ain't their business, don't have nothing to do with them. So if she had an agreement between her baby father and how the transportation was going to go, she just wanted you to ride with her because you her boo.
Yeah, but I'm running a business.
And so then...
So was I.
Right. And so, again...
The focal point, but look, nothing.
The focal point should always be the child. And so sometimes for the mother, she has to make the sacrifice. Well, I'm just going to ride and put on my music and go on and do what I got to do. But a lot of times when women have men, we will put, y'all going to be mad at me, way too much on the man when he's got to run the business, run the house, take care of you, help take care of the baby. So there still should be, and I don't think that enough families do this, but I think that families should, especially when blended families are starting, is to have all parties sit down and have a discussion. Most people don't do that.
It don't happen.
I did.
It should.
Guess who did? I did.
But that's when I wanted to call you. That's when the conversation happened. I said, I said, well, let me call him. It's time for us to talk. And that's when that conversation, to me, that's when it like...
It went off the rails.
Went off the rails.
What you say? What you say? What did you say to him? You called him and said, look, nigga.
No, he was like, well, I'm glad you called because that's when the conversation came up about me hitting his son. Yeah, so he was like, so if you hit my son in any kind of way, I'm gonna fuck you up. I was like, okay, Quincy. Well, if he's bad in school, is he disrespectful in my house?
He said
I'm gonna whoop his ass.
He said that.
Quincy hit the roof. And we've been like that for like 12, 13 years.
But the thing is, I'm gonna tell you why I said that, because I discipline my kids differently. And I could probably one thumb name how many times I ever physically disciplined Quincy or any other of my children. So I was not a physical disciplinarian.
How many children?
I have 4.
Okay.
I have 4.
Yeah. 10.
No, just 4.
And you said something though. You said, Allen, you would never know how I feel because
you didn't have your own yet.
I didn't have my own yet.
Right.
And also I wasn't in your position as far as, being my son being somewhere else.
I said when you get your own.
And I understand that. Yeah, mm-hmm. I understood that. I understand that more so now as well.
The problem is your wife, my son's mother said he will whip Quincy, and I had an issue. It was not a conversation. It was not an agreement. Okay. It was she threw it on me, and I'm like, you don't lost your damn mind. he's not, in my word, what I said, he is not disciplining Quincy from a love perspective. He's whipping Quincy based on wrongdoing. If I put my hands, it's coming from a love perspective. That's what I thought. That's how I felt. Good. But then, as years progressed, I knew you had a love for Quincy. Then I was okay with disciplinary, whatever, because you had finally grown to love my child, or not. But I think you did, because
I could see that.
Because you and Quincy, he got a love for you. And as a father, first we like, oh, wait a minute, there's competition. What the hell is going on? But then I had to eventually say, fuck, we got to share the baby.
And so I think that again is the major thing that all families need to address, is that as you're building and walking into this new space that you've never been in before, whenever you go into a space that you've never been into before, you have to be open to walking into it differently. So maybe how you were parented, or maybe how you were parented, and all of that, you got to frame and put all that on the table, and then come up with what's going to work for this combination. And I think that's the biggest thing that people don't do. They don't really say, how are we going to make this work for us? Not what we see on TV, not the Huxtables. What we going to do for us in this moment? And as we grow and change and kids get older, then we may have to come back and re-examine how we do it. But the biggest thing is the communication, and that's the biggest problem that people have, because they get stuck in their emotions. They get stuck in being, well, ain't nobody gonna do that to me. Especially, I'm just gonna say it, especially with black folk. Oh my God, you can't tell us nothing. No. We just we hard-headed. And at the end of the day, the number one reason why people fail at anything is coachability. Because how do you get better if can't nobody tell you?
Great.
So how did we get to where we are today? To y'all fist bumping and y'all having
like you're saying,
I
think